Yo, what's up, people? I'm back with another deck profile. Thank you for all the love on the last one. It was a lot of fun. This week's deck profile, we got the Ultra Ball deck box, and we got the Gouging Fire deck. That's that boy. We're getting right into things. 3 Gouging Fire. He's going to be your main attacker. Use the Blaze Blitz to deal 260. That's a pretty big number in this format. Knocks out a lot of stuff. All of the basic Pokemon V and Pokemon EX get knocked out by this that are commonly played, so huge damage point. Not quite 280 to KO Pidgeots, but there's ways to get to that 280. He's also an ancient guy, so you can use the Sadas and the tools that go with the ancient guys. Really solid card. These are the full arts. They're pretty affordable. They have a cool little texturing to them. They don't look as good as the Japanese printing where the texturing is more defined, but you'll notice there, kind of at the top left, the texturing is like a squiggle almost. It's pretty cool. All right, moving on. Next attacker is NTV. This guy's really good, gives you extra drop power, and attacks for 2 energy, which comes up a lot. He also couples with the Forest Seal Stone, which we'll get into later. And your last attacker in the deck is Delphox V. Very simple deck. Kind of plays like an expanded deck where you just set up your main guy and then you swing. All the rest of the deck is geared towards setting you up or certain utility. This guy's important because he snipes. Helps you against dialga, helps you against decks that set up a bunch of bench Pokemon that you need to deal with all at once. Kills 2 Bibarels at once, which is kind of the big draw to this card. And also the Eerie Glow is actually how you deal with Mimikyu in this list. Mimikyu kind of hard walls you, so you just burn and confuse it, and then slowly kill it that way. It's the only way to deal with Mimikyu. It's kind of awkward, but I mean, that's what it is. It is what it is. All right, support Pokemon, 2 Squawkabilly, really important to this strategy. You got to have him. He discards your energies so you can ramp them out into play. 1 Radiant Greninja turns every energy into Pot of Greed. Pretty important card in strategies like this. If you don't have one, you should probably own one. It's a good staple card. 1 Mew EX, free retreat, draw power. Sometimes use the genome hacking. You never use the genome hacking, let's be real. And then the last Pokemon is 1 Iron Valiant EX. Use the Tachyon Bits to pair with the Blaze Blitz, Tachyon Blitz combo to hit 280 to knock out Arceus, Giratina, Pidgeot, all those important guys that you need to knock out. So that's how you get your extra damage. All right, trainer time. Very few Pokemon in this deck, but they all look gorgeous, and it's a sweet deck to play. You guys will see in the gameplay portion of the video, of course. You gotta have 4 Magma Basin. This is the Swagma Basin, if you will, the gold version. It looks amazing. This is the reason this deck is playable. It's basically once per turn, you get a Dark Patch, which is really strong. It does deal 20 to your Pokemon, but usually your Pokemon's getting knocked out anyway, so it's just for turboing out the energy, and the damage doesn't really matter that much. And the fact that you can use it turn after turn if it's not removed is really, really strong. Just gives you 2 energy attaches every turn. Incredibly powerful. Speaking of energy ramp, for the supporters, you got 4 Sada's Vitality. You got to have this. If you're playing any Ancient deck, this is the reason to play the Ancient deck, is Sada's Vitality. I can't even hold the cards right. I'm like holding my phone with one hand and the cards with the... You know where we're going with this, though. Super illustration rare swag. But yes, attach the energies and draw 3 cards. It's really strong. Next card that you should play 3 of is Boss's Orders. This deck does not play Counter Catchers, so this is your only gust effect. Well, it's one of your only gust effects, and you need it because you go ahead really quick. It's a rush deck. You're trying to get an attacker out as soon as turn 1, and then you want to snipe down those important cards. Also really helps you at like sniping down Pidgeot, bringing up Bibarel deactive so you can get that double Bibarel KO, that sort of stuff. So pretty important card in this deck. 1 Arven. This guy's just extra utility. It's a pseudo gust effect because it can search Prime Catcher, spoiler alert. And it can also search Forest Seal Stone. So it's just a really strong supporter option in this deck. You really only need the 1 though. And then 2 Iono for disruption. We're going with the full art Ionos, you know, we're on that, we're balling on a budget, you know what I'm saying? But the full art ones look clean. I actually kind of like the art a little bit more than I like it on the illustration art for some reason, but that's the vibes. All right, Ball Search. 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball. This is pretty important. You don't play a lot of Pokemon, so if you prize them, you probably need to find them. 4 Nest Ball, self-explanatory. It's kind of the best search option in the format. It lets you search for any basic. 4 Ultra Ball. This one is a little bit less self-explanatory, but I think it's important in this deck because you need to discard your energy in order to get the Swagma Basin online. You know what I'm saying? And then 1 Pokegear. This is a utility card. Helps you find Sadas. Kind of like a 5th Sadas. It's mid, but whatever. You got to play it. 3 Trekking Shoes. You could play 4 Trekking Shoes. You probably should, but I couldn't find mine. So this deck profile is going to be 59 cards. I'll tell you some options that you could play in the 60th slot. 1 Lost Vacuum. help you remove those tools. Hero's Cape, really annoying. Double energy switch. This card's actually pretty important, especially for pulling off those surprise Delphox turns. I've considered bumping it to 3, but I think 2 is perfectly fine. 2 switch card. The 60th card could be a 3rd switch card if you want, but yeah, this card's pretty good. It helps you get those Tachyon Bits turns, and it helps you retreat your Gouging Fires so that you don't get locked out of attacking for a turn. 2 Earthen Vessel, search your energy. You know the vibe. 1 Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. This is pretty important. You put it on your Gouging Fire and it makes him 290. That's an important number to be at versus Charizard specifically. It also helps you against other decks like Giratina. If you can manage to keep damage off of your Gouging Fire, they actually can't KO your Gouging Fire without going for the Lost Origin. So decks like Arctina that can't go for the Lost Origin can't KO your Gouging Fire, which is pretty important. 1 Forest Seal Stone. This is a power card. This is one of the most broken cards in the format right now, and it's kind of the reason to play this deck. It's because you get to play this really broken card. It's computer search, but with no discard. Really busted. And then your ace spec is, of course, the Prime Catcher. I got a really funny story about this Prime Catcher. Seller on T.C.G. Player sold it to me. Said it was near mint and has like bite marks on it. And then the conversation I had with this person explaining that he sent me a card with bite marks on it was actually insane. Maybe a story for another video, but let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in hearing about, because it was crazy. Anyway, energies, pretty simple. 4 Jet Energy, move the Gouging Fire out of the active, help you get the guys you powered up on the bench into the active spot, and help you get that Tachyon Bits, which is pretty important. They also help a lot versus control. And then 8 Fire Energy. Keep it simple. Evolutions, Reverse Hollow. I like the classic looking fire border, but there's a bunch of different options for fire that I think look good, the Hole and Phantoms and stuff. Anyway, that's it for the deck profile. Hopefully I explained your questions. If you got more questions, leave them in the comments. Let's get into some gameplay. All right. So for the first game, I've got the new kind of meta threat Chien versus Ancient Fire Boy. What's his name? Gouging Fire, something like that. You'd think water would be a bad matchup because fire weak to water, right? Like you'd think it'd be a bad matchup. Let's hop right into it and see exactly how it plays out, because I think the matchup is actually not as bad as people may think. This is one of a couple games I've played against Chien. Why is this quality 0? Oh my gosh. Okay, here we are. All right, we nest ball. We check our boys. We have the Radiant Greninja. That's all you need to know. We go ahead and Earthen Vessel so we don't draw into more energies. We want to get as much energy in the discard as possible. Well, at least 3. 2 for Sawdust, 1 for Magma Basin. That's like kind of the general starting point. We're going to go ahead and conceal cards, draw into a nest ball. We get our Iron Valiant EX. He's sometimes useful in this matchup to put 20 damage onto the Radiant Greninja so that we can snipe it with Delphox. So he's sometimes useful. I'm not sure if I bench him this game, though. We go ahead and nest ball for Gouging Fire. Gouging Fire is just your premier attacker. You're going to be trading 2 for 2. You go Gouging Fire, KO Chien, and provided you get the first attack, which you should, you will just win the prize race, which is awesome and based. So we just Trekking Shoes. Always end up having to discard Prime Catcher with Squawk ability. That's just like story of my life with this deck, but it is what it is. You know, that's just kind of the way it goes. We decided to discard this Magma Basin because we're going to have to discard it anyway, so there's really no reason for me to keep it around. Going to Magma Basin, attach the Fire Energy, deal 20 to my Gouging Fire, bench the guy. I do decide to bench him. I think there's an argument to not benching him in this matchup, but I think it's fine. Bench the Squawk, go ahead and Squawk, pitch, draw 6. We could have drawn one with Mew there, but I didn't want to draw into like a Gouging Fire, something we may actually need, or a Delphox, like something we may actually need, and then be forced to discard it to the Squawk and Seize or be in an awkward position. I don't think we would have had to discard a Pokemon because we could have benched it, but it just would have been a little bit awkward, you know? Anyway, we find another Trekking Shoes. We dig. We don't want another Magma Basin. They do play Pokestop to get rid of our Magma Basin, so that is a little bit scary to get rid of it. But I just wanted to get one card deeper towards finding a Pokemon V so we could have the Forest Seal Stone for next turn. As it stands, we don't really have much to do here, so we're just going to pass. We can always Radiant Greninja next turn. We still do have 1 Magma Basin left, so if they Pokestop me, we can always find the last one if we have to. But from this point on, it's going to be a Sada's game. Buddy Poffin gets him to the Bidoof and the Frigibax, but like I said, you always get the first attack provided you go first, and usually going second, you can get a turn 1 attack off. It's not like super consistent, but usually going second versus them, you get the turn 1 attack off and you just win the race. Anyway, they Buddy Poffin, get some buddies out here. Bench is fully set up. He could go for, I think Baxcalibur has an attack. I don't know what it does, but I think Baxcalibur has an attack. And I think that he could go for the game plan of attacking twice with Baxcalibur, but the issue is he has to do them last, because if he does them first, then basically what happens is I just kill his Baxcaliburs, and then he can't really play the game. Like, he can't really power up Chien Paos fast enough. So yeah, I think he has to attack with the Baxcaliburs last in order to like throw off the prize numbers, and it gets really awkward because if he does that, then our game plan shifts to becoming Delphox, KO, Radiant Greninja plus Barrel, and that becomes our game plan. So like, there's like back and forth to it, but usually Gouging Fire's prize map is just easier and it's a little bit more consistent because, as you can see, turn 1 we drew 31, like we're 31 cards deep in our deck. Half our deck is gone after turn 1. The deck just plays like an expanded deck. It's super fast. It sets up these really strong attackers as early as turn 1, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Gonna Errata search his dudes. Another thing that's really good in this matchup is Entei can actually KO Chien Pao if he ever fills his bench. So it's a pretty big mistake for him to fill his bench here. He should just have one Bidoof or one Frigibax. But one Frigibax is always a liability, so it should just be one Bidoof. Anyway, the Magma Basin sticks around, which is awesome, which means we're going to get more value. I can Earthen Vessel, pitch a Jet, grab some fires, and then I can Greninja, pitch a fire, draw 2 more cards, hopefully hit a Pokemon V. We don't, but we hit a Sawdust, which is really nice. I decide to go for the Sawdust now. Attach, draw 3 more. We find the Arven, which is nice. That can get us a Nest Ball for the Forest Seal. And it can also get us our Pokemon Tool, which doesn't do anything in this matchup, but just gets it out of the deck. We're going to go ahead and retreat to Dat Boy. I think we retreat to the Tachyon guy. Oh, no, we don't. We don't do that yet. We just knock his guy out. We just knock it out. We figured we're probably going to lose our guy next turn. But we can try and rebuild it, basically. Like, we can try and go for an Entei KO on Chien Pao if he benches it. And if he doesn't bench a Chien Pao, then he can't really KO the Gouging Fire without spending a Bax, which we're also okay with. So he goes Chien Pao, and then we're looking at being able to KO that with Entei with just Magma Basin onto it. We have the last Magma Basin in case ours gets popped, and then Jet Energy. And that's all she wrote. We KO the Chien Pao, and then we can KO the last 2 prizes either with Delphox or a Gouging Fire. We can figure it out when we get to it. But the prize exchange just works really well in this matchup. It's pretty difficult for them to put you on odd numbers and then KO like the Squawk ability for 3 with Iron Hands or something like that. It just doesn't work well for them. They need too much to do kind of exactly what you're doing. We're basically doing what their deck is doing, setting up a 2-prizer that hits for a bunch of damage, but we can do it way more consistently, and we can do it a turn earlier. And because we can do that, basically what their deck is doing a turn earlier, we're just always going to win the race. And there's just nothing they can really do about it. It's kind of funny. It's just kind of funny that you would think the water matchup for the fire deck would be really bad, but in reality, as long as you don't break, you just beat them every single time. It's kind of awesome. And Chien Pao is a pretty popular deck, so the fact that this deck does really well versus the popular water deck is pretty sweet. I actually think Gouging Fire kind of slept on. I'm not gonna lie. That being said, Gouging Fire doesn't have like, you know, the streamlined late game engine of like Bibarrel, Cypher Maniacs, that sort of thing. Opponent correctly not playing any Bibarrels here to play around the Delphox. But we've got the Nest Ball for the next Gouging Fire. Looks like we've prized the Entei, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. We can set this guy up because we've got Sawdust plus Magma Basin. We're just checking to see what kind of resources we've got. We decide not to go for it. Interesting choice. Why did we not go for it? I don't know what I'm doing here. I might be punting. Oh, no, I get the Entei. I grab the Entei from the prizes. Yeah, we Arven for the hidden ball thing, and then we Magma Basin onto the Entei. Yep, that makes sense. I didn't even Arven for it. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just watching it on 2x speed. Let's go back a little bit there for a second so I can catch up with myself. I Forest Seal for the heavy ball. Okay, I could have Arven for that, but I wanted to leave the option for bosses open as well. We play that boy. Put that energy on that boy. Jet energy on that boy. And then, yeah. Fleet-footed. Draw a card. Ultra Ball, kind of nice. Can't lie. Can't lie. That can find us our next attacker, and we just KO, chien. Easy clap. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple matchup. Now he could here have a turn where he goes like Iono, Pokestop, maybe like Countercatcher. I don't even know. But that's a lot. And he needs to have it all. So it's like basically make him have it all. And then on top of that, he has to have a way to attack us back. He goes for the Pokestop. So he has step 1, which is Pokestop. But then he goes for Cypher Maniacs. And I'm like, well, I'm just keeping my hand. And now he can't counter my hand. And so we're just kind of clear to win this one. We're just clear to take it down. Radiant Greninja's not knocking anything out. So we can just attack again with Entei and just be like, what are you going to do? What you going to do? Even here, Delphox can go for game with the double prize knockout. Let's see if I do end up going for that. That'd be kind of based. Let's see if we can piece that together for a way to close out this game. He's going to go ahead and attach a bunch of energy. He could retreat here, get the knockout. That would actually kind of make it a little bit harder for us, because then we'd have to figure out a way to get 3 energy in play and bosses him all at once. But I think he doesn't do that. Either way, we could just... Oh, does he do that? He might do that. Yeah, he does do that. Okay. Yeah, either way, it's not too bad because we still have our hand, which is a really good hand. We've got Ultra Ball, which can find the Gouging Fire. We've got a free retreater that can pivot into it very easily. We've got Switch Card to pivot into it. We can just pitch whatever. It doesn't really matter because we're just going to KO the active. Just checking the deck one more time. Seeing the vibes. Bench it. Magma Basin. Sawdust. Draw 3. Magma Basin. Attach. Jet Energy that boy. And we're good to go. So, or we don't even need a Jet Energy. We can retreat. So, yeah, GG's. Easy clap. Matchup's easy. Usually it plays out like this. If you're like laddering with Gouging Fire and you face up against Chien, this is like your day 1. This is like level 1 gameplay versus Chien. You just win the prize race. Level 2 gameplay is like they start attacking you with baxcaliburs, and then you have to figure that out. And level 3 gameplay is like, no, that's it. Those are the only 2 levels. And you just beat them either way. All right. Next match. Another deck that people are probably thinking is hot stuff, especially after the regional in, I believe, Indianapolis. This is a match against Dialga. Now, you'd probably be thinking to yourself, Dialga's steel or metal or whatever, and metal's weak to fire, so pretty good matchup, right? And you'd be right. It's a pretty good matchup. I can't lie, especially if you get an early Delphox. I can't remember what happens exactly in this game, but early Delphox... Oh, this is an interesting game because I actually brick. So, like, this is a game where, like, I have a terrible hand, and it still shows you how good this matchup is, even with a terrible hand. So, another very top meta threat, I think. Dialga is pretty popping right now. I mean, just won a really big regional. Like, you can't really say that that's not popping. But, yeah. Opponent's got the Magnetic Lift. It just passes a turn back. Well, not Magnetic Lift. He's got the energy for the Magnetic Lift. We rip Earthen Vessel, and I'm just like, why lose? I'm getting donked, right? So I go for the Earthen Vessel. I pitch Fire Energy, just try to get some energies out of my deck so I can possibly top deck out of this situation. Things look dire. It's not looking good for the home team, but we just got to pass. No reason to attack Timui X. There's no shot we're ever using his ability, his genome hacking, so there's just no reason to attach there. He's going to go Ultra Ball, pitch 2. He's going to find the Dialga vstar, and now all he needs to do is find a whole bunch of energy to pump this up. I believe only 4 energy, and that's going to KO my Beldum, but luckily for us, opponent just slams an Iono on the table. I'm like, all right, we get a refresh. Looks like we would have top decked Squawkabilly, so either way we would have been out of the situation, but no, actually we wouldn't have been because you can't Squawkabilly turn 2. I'm just bad. We would have lost, straight up. I mean, we would have been able to bench a Squawkabilly, but we would have lost. Let's be real. Anyway, he goes for the whatever Radiant Greninja, tries to get set up on the Dialga enough to KO me. Retreats, doesn't find the second Metang, is only able to attack for 120. Actually, he only needed what? Yeah, he needed 4 energy to kill me. But yeah, he's a few energy shy, and we're able to get a turn, and that's really all it takes. We're gonna be able to Nest Ball, go grab ourselves Dat Boy. Probably Entei here. Yeah, probably Entei. That makes the most sense. He takes the least amount of energy. He can also draw us an extra card. And he also works with the Forest Seal Stone that's in my hand. So why did I get Gouging Fire? I'm so bad at this. I should have got Entei. I guess I wanted Desadas. I thought I had Desadas for some reason. That was really stupid. I should have got Entei. I had Forest Seal. Yeah, that was really dumb. I should have got Entei because I had Forest Seal. That was really stupid. Never punished, I guess. I ripped the Forest Seal, but I would have liked to draw a Fire Energy there or an Earthen Vessel. Yeah. Yeah, and then the Ultra Ball could have got... Well, we couldn't have Sadas, so it would have been kind of awkward. We go ahead and Fleet-Footed. We find Magma Basin, which is pretty nice. There's no fire in the grave, I don't think. We could either switch card out and then save this and let him kill the Mew, or we could Forest Seal now and like try to get our situation a little bit better. I prized double Earthen Vessel, I believe. Yeah, I prized double Earthen Vessel, so we're not able to go for that. So we just have to Jet Energy our guy in order to attack this turn, which sucks, honestly. But I don't know if this was the right play. I think I botched this whole turn. I think I was supposed to go Entei first, and then Fleet-Footed first, and then Forest Seal, and then do everything after. But prizing both Ancient Vessel or whatever there kind of sucked. I decided to offer up the Mew, because Entei is like consistent draw power even with a stacked hand. And Entei is also a good attacker in this matchup. Like, it just outright does shit. So I'm like, alright, I've played this pretty terribly, but maybe we can get out of it. He Ionos me again. The hand is not great, but we can Nest Ball for Radiant Greninja and maybe get something going. And we've got Fleet Footing, so we can maybe get out of it somehow. If he hits to 5 energy here, we do kind of instantly lose, but he decides to attach 1 to the Zamazenta, so he misses again on the Metang and doesn't have more Metangs to get going. So we're both kind of like slow starting, which is nice for us. We promote the Entei, we find another Gouging Fire, we grab that Greninja boy, we Nest Ball again. Yeah, and we grab the Delphox boy, and then we go ahead and Fleet Footing first, in case we find another search card. We don't. We find Prime Catcher, which is a good draw. But we don't want to use it because I really need to KO the active Dialga. I benched that boy, I attached the active, I energy switch to the active, and we can KO his guy. But things look tough. We're just down on a bunch of cards. If he's able to return KO the Entei, then things don't look good. Thankfully, we're able to draw Earthen Vessel, so Radiant Greninja can at least dig us out of a situation here. Or try to. He goes ahead and Nest Balls for that Dialga boy. He Metangs, I believe now. No, he Ultra Balls first. Grabs another Metang. So he's got double Metang set up. So he's set up to do some work. He could definitely get the Star Chronos online and have a big turn where we just lose. Super Odds back 3 energy. Make sure the Metangs are hitting as they should. This matchup is... I think this matchup is closer or worse than the Chien Pao matchup. I think Chien Pao is just outright a good matchup for Gouging Fire. I think Dialga is like... kind of a race. It's kind of a race, but they can outrace you. They can outrace you because Star Chronos is broken as heck. So, yeah. He attaches the Metal Energy. He Metal Makers again. Does he hit? He hits a couple for his Dialga. So, things look scary. I mean, like, he's getting set up. He's getting ready to take his big 2-prize turn. But thankfully, Zamazenta just doesn't KO Entei or Gouging Fire or anything. And he doesn't have a way to get the Iron Valiant in the active. We find the Booster Capsule, which is pretty nice. That means he can't, like, kill the Gouging Fires easily. And we can Fleet-Footed into a card, hopefully try to find us a Bosses or something of that nature to get rid of this Dialga. Unfortunately, he Ionoed away our big boy catcher. So I decided to go for the Pokegear to shuffle my deck. Hopefully to get the Prime Catcher back on top of my deck. And I find the one of Arven, which can actually get us to the Prime Catcher, which is really nice. So I decided to grab that boy. We've got the switch cart, so we can go ahead and Prime Catcher up the Dialga. Or we can switch cart first. Either way, it doesn't really matter. We decided to place 20 on his Radiant Greninja in case we want to go for double KO on the Radiant plus an Iono with Delphox at some point. We're pretty far away from that ever happening, but that is one way we could close this game out. We top into Bosch's and Lost Vacuum off the prizes. He promotes Zamazenta, and now things are really interesting because, like, we have 2 prizes. He's about to go to 2 prizes. All of our dudes are 2 prizers. So if he can just KO one of our guys, like, he just wins after this because he's got all 1 prizers in play. So kind of a scary game. Not going to lie. He goes ahead and attaches to the Beldum. He is able to knock out the NTV. He might even retreat the Zamazenta. I don't even remember. Oh, no, he bosses. He goes for boss on the Delphox. So this is his ability to take away our 2 prize return KO. And now things are bad because Entei KO Zamazenta, but then Metang or Beldum both KO Entei. And it's just a tough game. So a game where we were bricked like crazy. And we had a few opportunities to make some better plays. Kind of went both ways. It's kind of hard to say. If he misses on energies for the Metangs, then he can't KO me, but it's very unlikely that happens at this point in the game with 2 Metang activations, possibly even 3. I go ahead and Nest Ball. There's nothing left to find. I can Sawdust, but there's only 1 energy, which is really awkward. This whole game, we just haven't been able to get energy in the discard pile. Fleet-Footed, we find another energy, thankfully. We can Radiant Greninja, discard the energy if we want to. I think for a really long time here. Why was I thinking for so long? I was thinking if I needed to attach that energy to the Gouging Fire. Iono. Why would I do that? I find Magma Basin, but, like, why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense. Why did I make that play? What the heck? Hold up. I feel like the play is for sure Radiant Greninja pitch, Sawdust to both, draw 3, and hope to hit, like, a switch card or something. Like a switch card and a Magma Basin. We'd have to hit a lot, though. We'd have to hit a lot of specific cards, so I guess in 5 draws, I can see why I didn't go for it. But yeah, I decided to Iono him to 2 instead and hope I don't know, did some stuff. But yeah, I guess the Iono was the plan. I don't know why I thought to do the Iono. Anyway, we find Trekking Shoes. It's do or die for him. Either he attacks me with Metang or I just lose, or I win, obviously. He's got a lot of energies in his discard, like 8 or something like that, and he's got 1 in play. So the chances of him being able to KO the Entei here are, they're not 0, but they're pretty low. Actually, no, they're still pretty high. I think he still has like 5 energy left in his deck, and he only needs to hit 3 of them. I pass back the opponent. He's choosing a new active. Let's see. Takes forever. Promotes the Metang. Of course, you have to promote Metang here. There's no other way to do it. Let's see. Does he hit off the Metal Makers? I don't even remember if he hits off the Metal Makers. Now that I'm watching this. He might hit here. Ultimately, what it comes down to is like how well their Metal Makers hit. If their Metal Makers are hitting, then it's a tough matchup. And if the Metal Makers are not hitting, then it's pain. Does he just lose? Are you kidding me? That's really it. He just times out. Oh, that was disappointing. We didn't even get to see the Metal Maker hit. What? That would have been exciting. That was exciting. He probably would have beat us. I'm not going to lie. He probably would have beat us this game. But it shows you the strength. Even when you brick with this deck and misplay like a noob like me in this game, you still have a pretty good matchup against Dialga, which is cool. And Delphox can go hard as long as they don't boss prioritize it. All right, next match is up against Guardy. This is kind of an older deck, Guardy. I think it's like more last format than it is this format, popularity-wise. But it still tops. Like, it's still out here, like, in the regionals. So it's still kind of relevant. Like, it's still important to know how this deck matches up. Start off with the Mew EX. I think this matchup is actually quite difficult if they know how to play it. Especially if they play, like, Bayonet. Bayonet is... That card's a pain. They can lock you up real good with Bayonet. That card's annoying. But I think if they don't know how to play it, it's pretty free. There's Delphox on them. They kind of lose. Anyway, I have never played this matchup. This is my first time playing against it. It's all theoretical, of course. I decided to go for the NTV because he's dropped. Well, actually, do I go for that or do I go for Squawk? I don't remember what I go for. I think I go for Ente. Interesting. Yeah, I think in this matchup it might be correct to go second and try to donk them. Yeah, I think it's correct to go second in this matchup. If you know it's coming, of course. Like if you're in game 2 of your 3-game match at a tournament or whatever, I think it's correct to go second versus Guardy. Don't quote me on that. But I think it's correct. We go ahead and bin the Sadas, I believe. Yeah, try to find more Pokemon. We find another Magma Basin, which is fine. It's not great, but it's not the worst. But that's exactly what we wanted. Nest Ball. Trying to get those boys down. We can grab the Delphox here if we want to like threaten that early. Honestly, we could, but then he might just go for the Manaphy. So I kind of want to surprise Delphox him if possible. That's probably not going to be super possible, but maybe with the Forest Seal we're able to. We attach to NTV. We can retreat to the NTV and draw another card and attach the Forest Seal. So if we get Ionoed, we don't get Ionoed. You know what I'm saying? We don't get owned by that streamer girl Pokemon battler. I didn't even turn the speed up on this. All right, here we are. Yeah, we go for the fleet-footed. Draw another Sadas. A lot of redundancy in this deck, but honestly, it's kind of fine. Like, you just want to see your power cards and play a lot of them. No need to Force Seal this turn. We can just pass. If we get Ionoed, then the vibes are correct. He sets up all the Ralts. He's got the pitch, and then, yeah, he does have the Iono, so it's a good thing we held off on the Forest Seal. Gardevoir is just really slow to attack you. So if you can get like a couple of big boy Delphox hits off, you kind of just win. He benches the Mimikyu, and Delphox is key to that. I think I might have mentioned that in the deck profile. I don't remember. But Delphox is going to be the key here, basically. We have Ultra Ball to find it. We have Draw Power here, Fleet-Footed, Radiant Greninja. We have Ramp in the form of Magma Basin. We have Switch Cart for mobility. So we have a lot of stuff going here. A lot of stuff going right. And we still have, I believe, the Forest Seal Stone, which I haven't used yet, which can find us an Energy Switch. So we attach the Delphox. Possibly not the best place to attach it, but it's the vibe. We go Jet Energy, I believe, on the Delphox. Yeah, I decided to go for the Delphox attack this turn because there's a chance that we won't get another chance to use it if he promotes Mimikyu next turn. So I decided to go for the Delphox early, get that Double Snipe popping, Energy Switch onto the Entei. Because like no matter what, he's promoting Mimikyu next turn, and I just want the Delphox to be in the active so I don't got to think about it. Just go ahead and pop 2 Ralts. We could have also popped the Radiant Greninja, but I figured popping the Ralts is fine, because if he just evolves to 2 Curlias next turn and we draw bosses, we can pop those and just win, like straight up, like there's nothing he can do. Provided we find the second Energy Switch, which we might not be able to do. But we could like Switch Cart Magma Basin and like do some shenanigans. We do find the bosses, which is really nice. He goes Greninja, Pitch, TM Evo, evolve his 2 boys. But he did put down the Manaphy, so it's a little bit awkward. We're not able to KO the 2 boys, you know. We draw Sadas. That's a pretty good card. I don't know if I go for it. I think I might go for it. I don't remember how much energy I have in the discard. I think I had 2. Yeah. Trekking Shoes. I decided to put the fire into the hand so I could pitch it with Radiant Gren. And draw 2 more cards. We have Pokegear, but I decided it's just Asada's turn, I think. Find Arven. Arven can get us to Prime, which isn't bad. Or Energy Switch. But Energy Switch isn't great because of the Manaphy. So, we grab the tool, we grab the Prime Catcher. We just decided to take this turn to burn him. And like stack our hand a little bit. He heals from the burn, but he's confused. Which is nice. That means he can't pressure me back without like risking a coin flip. We have Lost Vacuum for the Hero's Cape, so I'm not too pressed. Refinement is going to pitch another Curlia, draw 2. He attaches 1. He goes for the Confusion Flip. Flips tails. unlucky, passes the turn back, and I think at this point he decides to concede. So, yeah, pretty simple if your opponent doesn't know how to play the matchup. And cool thing about Gouging Fire is it's a newer deck, or not a newer deck, but it's pretty new. I mean, Temporal Forces is still a pretty new set, surprisingly. A lot of big releases back to back with Pokemon with the Temporal Forces, and then the next set coming out pretty shortly after. But it's still a relatively new deck, and people don't have experience versus it. They don't know like to bench Manaphy early. They don't know to do certain things, and you're able to catch him off guard. And all it takes is that 1 or 2 turns of catching him off guard, and you just win a tournament game, and that's really all it takes. And the last video I want to show you guys is I got 4 matches actually this time. A little bit of an upgrade from last time where I had 3 matches, but today we're doing the full 4. We got versus Lost Zone Shenanigans. This is a pretty cool one. I do like the ye old Lost Zone strategies myself. However, I find that my prizes are always terrible every time I play that deck. We start off with Mew, Entei. So we got the free retreater in the active, which is just always nice. We're going first. We have Radiant Greninja in the deck. We could grab the Squawk, but just check our prizes real quick. Grab the top 2 with our Greninja. I think it's better to Greninja first so you know what it is you want to keep off trekking shoes. Having more information before deciding if you want to keep something is usually good. Bench the Entei. We can Magma Basin attach to the Entei if we want to. I decided to do it because, like, what are the chances he's hitting me for 210 turn 1? Pretty low. We go ahead and retreat to the Entei. Fleet Footing, draw into Sadas. And I'm deciding if I want to attach the Jet Energy this turn or not. And I think I decide against it because I can always pitch it to Radiant Greninja if I have to next turn. And the way our hand is shaping up, I kind of have to. Like, I actually kind of need to find a Gouging Fire. He has the Artisan to destroy our Magma Basin, which kind of sucks because Magma Basin's pretty crucial for this deck. If your Magma Basin doesn't stick around, it feels pretty bad. That being said, we don't have any energies in the grave, so it's not like that big of a deal, you know. How is this on 2x and it still feels like he's taking forever? Anyway, Nest Balls for Radiant Greninja, pitches 1, draws 2. The vibes, immaculate. Flower selecting. Okay, he's out here selecting the flowers. Picking some flowers, that boy. With the swag comfy, he has a really swagged out deck. It's like all gold and stuff. Looks kind of clean, I'm not going to lie. We notice he binned a Nest Ball, lost zone to Nest Ball, so it's always good to pay attention to what your opponent's lost zoning, because then you can kind of understand what's in their hand as a result. Or you can try to predict what's in their hand. He probably bins Nest Ball and bins Comfy because he thinks with his 2 Comfy he's vibing and chilling. He goes ahead and bosses orders our Radiant Greninja, which is a pretty big waste of his supporter. Him not having Colress is like pretty huge. Usually, if you dodge the turn 2 Colress, you're very far ahead because it means they need to find it next turn and you're killing a Comfy, and it's just awesome. We Artisan ourselves, but we have no targets because all our dudes have rule boxes. So just a shuffle there, just double checking our deck. You still want to Artisan because it bluffs that you could have something that might be prized. So you always want to Artisan there just to bluff your opponent. Make him guess what's in your deck list. Anyway, we Jet Energy back to the active. We go ahead and fleet-footed rip into Hisui and Heavy Ball, which isn't great, but it's something. We Ultra Ball. We need to get our bench a little bit more stacked. And so I decided to go for the Gouging Fire, which makes sense because we got the Sadas, so it makes any fire energy top deck like just turn on our whole hand. And we're just gonna bosses up that boy. Do I bosses that boy? I just knock him out. He gives me a little bit of a hurry up, which is kind of rude considering that he's taken more time on his 1 turn than I have on mine. But you know what? All right. Little BM hurry up from the opponent. Fair enough. He Artisans out the Comfy, and then is able to Greninja, draw 2 cards. And as you can see here, his 2 turns already taken longer than our 2 turns, so the whole hurry up thing, just rude, honestly. Just disrespectful from the opponent. He bends another card, attaches a water to the Radiant Greninja, but like, who asked? You know, Radiant Greninja is not a threat versus our deck. You have to attack with it twice for it to get the 4 prizes, and even then it's like, whatever, you know, you just, whatever. It's 2 turns, right? It's 2 turns of dat boy. Anyway, we do end up getting out of the situation, finding the energy we needed to find. Sawdust, draw 3. We find jet energy. We're able to fleet-footed, find trekking shoes, bin another energy, which is nice. Trekking shoes again, bin the squawk because he's useless. Whole hand looking stacked. We could play cards if we wanted to. We could attach an energy if we wanted to. I decided to do neither, I believe. I think I just... Oh, no, I do attach. Do I attach? I do attach. And then we hit for 120. So, yeah, we're looking pretty set up here. We're already 2 prizes ahead, which is massive. Every turn taking a KO with this deck. He's just taking his sweet time setting up his attackers. He hasn't Mirage Gated. He hasn't Colressed. It's pretty lucky for us he hasn't seen Colress yet, honestly. Bins a card. But that's the thing, like, these decks, these Lost Zone decks, I think their biggest consistency issue is they lack tutoring. So when they do have a lot of draw power, but sometimes the cards they need are just at the bottom of their deck in the early turns, and they fall really far behind. So this is a good comeback deck. I don't think that Lost Zone is a bad comeback deck by any means, but I just think that it lacks the tutors. It lacks the ability to search. It's more about the draw power, and sometimes the draw power just isn't enough. Tutors are the best thing in Pokemon. They search exactly what you want. It's 100% consistency. Draw power is not 100% consistency. How many times have you played an Iono or a Professor's Research and needed to draw a card and then missed? It just happens all the time. It's just not a consistent thing. Anyway, he's got the double gate here. He's able to attach a whole bunch. Gets the Greninja super loaded. Escape ropes on that boy. Goes to the Greninja, but this doesn't even KO me. It only puts me to 200 damage. It's kind of just a vibe. Benches the Mew EX. Benches that boy. He goes for the Bunda, I believe. Does he go for the Bunda? No, he doesn't go for the Bunda. He puts 90-90, so, like, he can take a 4 prize turn here, but he's going to need to do a lot. I think it's, like, double Rod plus Gate, and he only has 2 cards in hand. Like, just setting up the first Greninja took a lot of his resources. So, we're out here. I decided to let the timer run a little bit because he was rushing me earlier. Just a little bit of disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Boss that boy. Energy switch. Conserve our resources in hand. We may or may not need them later. I benched the Gouging Fire. I think I Sawdust. Oh, I didn't boss. Sorry, I catchered his guy. Yeah, I Sawdust to get more energy in play. Do I want to bench the Valiant? That's the real question. I think I decide to draw 2 cards first to see if I want to bench the Valiant. And I don't. I don't bench the Valiant. I keep it in hand in case I want to bench Delphox. Makes sense. Draw 2 cards off the prizes. Now he needs Iono, another energy, and then he takes 4 prizes, but that just puts him back in the game. Like, it doesn't even get him ahead. It just puts him back in the game. Finally a Chorus from him, but that's not an Iono, and we have a perfect hand. I can just Nest Ball out the Delphox. I hit him with the triple "what are you doing" face. Cause you gotta disrespect him back. You were rushing me earlier, bro. Your timer's 2 minutes lower than mine. What happened? Why is your deck not working, huh? What's happening here? I decided to just give him the Entei. I'm like, okay, KO it. KO it. See if I care. KO it. See if I care. I got the bosses. I got lethal. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. I decided to hit him again with the animation. He Mirage Gates, but like, okay. All right, bro. We expand the Mew EX. Just show it off for the camera a little bit. He goes for the big boy restart. Big boy Moonlight Shuriken. But again, who asked? All right? Who asked? Who asked? Draw for turn. Jet onto that boy. Wait a little while. Wait a little while. Boss's orders. Hit him with the fucking BM emoji again. KO. Gouging Fire. Best deck, baby. I'm really impressed with this deck. I actually think it's super fun. Obviously, it looks great when your opponent misses Colress turn 2, you know? But I think overall, the fact that it's able to not only have a great matchup against Chien, but do well against Dialga and Lost Zone as well, that's a pretty good showing for the deck. I think that on top of the fact that it is a kind of a newer deck that people aren't prepared for is a good thing. This is a good thing for the deck. It has a lot going for it. So try it out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Subscribe if you like the content. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.